Okay, here's a great example of how the SDX station definition is very, very important, both on the horizontal issue and on the not taking every level to be the new station every time it comes to a horizontal position. It's important to make sure that it only becomes a station when it is meaningful. Otherwise, you're going to have many little mini moves in the horizontal position, and that's going to be counterproductive because you're going to get stopped out a lot. And the move is either going to take place or it is not going to take place. So here's my favorite example of how I came across this realization that the SDX has to move, otherwise we're going to be slapped around quite a bit. The SDX has to move a decent amount to form a station where we can make triggers. Again, the lines in green illustrated are the upper bands of a station, and the lines in red are the lower bands of a station. And I'm going to just put in a vertical line of when we actually change over to a new, let me just mark this 1 second. Okay, so I have marked it. So the train comes in, and eventually comes to a halt slash inflection point. And we draw our extended lines in green and in red. And the train moves along. By the way, this is a 60-minute chart of the YM, 60-minute chart on the YM. So we get a bit of a move here, and at this point in time, we get our horizontal, pretty clearly horizontal, but I want you to note the significance of this horizontal move. And the area of significance is the fact that this let me just repeat that. This magenta midpoint of the new SDX is higher than the outer band of the old standard deviation express. And only that makes it validated. And hence we draw these lines which stay intact for the duration of this time that I have drawn here. And these are the three mid levels. Now, why are those important? Well, very simply put, as the SDX moves, we get a lot of fluctuation. It pauses there. There's no point in redrawing extensions because there's no movement. It really is too minuscule to be of any significance. Nothing is really moved. For example, the midpoint of this new SDX is only moved a little bit, and as is the case with these areas relative to that one. So the good news about this system is that this outer band here, I'm going to move the green. Whoops. This outer band here helps keep us in play. Had we moved it, had we moved the extension line there, we could have been stopped out at that point over there. But we kept it in play. We're keeping ourselves in play. So let's continue to move the SD Express. Now we moved to another pretty high level, but it doesn't meet the criteria to move it or change it. And again, it keeps us in play. And the criteria is very, very simple. The new SDX line midpoint, this one there, has got to be higher than the old outer band. And this one is just not higher. And so it cannot be used. The other litmus test is if the outer band is above of this new SDX, this new XDX here. If its outer band, that being in this case this one, is above the median line, then that gives us permission to redraw. Neither of those factors take effect. So we are keeping our original line drawn, which is these ones over here as the lower, and this one up here as the upper. So the SDX whoops, keep that there. SDX moves on and finally comes to an inflection point there, and we do get a signal with permission, giving us permission to redraw the line, and we redraw the line over here. The new red lines, as I've shown you, and they are these new lines here. And the importance of this point is that the reason why we get permission to draw these lines is because this new SDX station midpoint is higher than the old outer band of the one that stopped way back here. So essentially, all I'm saying is that, listen, when the train comes in, makes a stop, as it did here, unless it's going to make a decent move, let's keep these levels. Now, the reason why this got shut out is because the band was too narrow. So the next level, the bands are a little higher, and look how the price channel plays in. And it keeps us in play because it's leaning upwards. Had I not done that, I already did the test. In fact, I'll do the test right now, and it shows you what the results would produce. So with the SD Express version 1, I'm going to highlight the trades that we would have gotten with the computer. The first thing that we notice that we get stopped out here, trade stops. I mean, it's a nice trade, but it gets us out early and gives a false signal over here, and then we start falling apart over here as well. It starts falling apart. 1 second. So here and here. So we get short signal there, whereas without this, with this new system, we would be in play basically up to this point here. So it makes a big difference. And again, important to have horizontal lines. This is critical. Critical. One last thing, George. I want to change the exit to one stop. One close, rather. My writing's not very good. That should be a C. One close and not two. I'm going to send you this as well.